Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I am joined this evening by, the two out of the three musketeers, Callum and Jamie. How are we doing this evening?
I'm good. I'm a D'Artagnan. As long as I'm D'Artagnan, I'm good.
But before we get into the video, make sure that everyone here hits the like button, the share button, and subscribe button. Make sure to subscribe to Jamie Phillips Football Chats and the Sanderson Show. Links are in the description. And also, I am doing the midnight walk Friday night, Saturday morning to raise money for the Domestic Abuse Support Centre in Wrexham. So the link for the GoFundMe page is in the description. I think we've raised about £375. The goal is to get to 500. So any donation to try to help us get to that goal will be very, very, very much appreciated. Really looking forward to the walk to raise money for a good cause. And I managed to get my name in the paper. So,
hey, come on.
Yeah, all good, all good. Today's show we'll be discussing about Dricus du Plessis. Obviously, Jamie wasn't on the show we did last night, Callum. So, Jamie, I'll let you start first. But before that, I'll just go through the comments. CJ, big up CJ, big up Amwa, very much appreciated. Big up Chris Brack as well. Subscribe to Jamie. He always gets UFC main event right, unlike Callum. Alexander said, "Can we get John W. Henry in the octagon? Maybe, but only if you smash the like button. Maybe." Chapman plays. Big up, everyone. Big up. Jamie, I'll start off with you. Dricus du Plessis submits Israel Adesanya to retain his UFC middleweight title.
My champ.
Your man. How do you feel about Izzy, getting submitted in the way that he did? What did you think of his performance during the fight before he got submitted?
It's dog shit. He's just. No, I'm only joking. Now with Izzy, look, Izzy will always look good. He'll always look good. Izzy, even as an old man, he will look accomplished, skilled, and that's what he did look like. The one thing I noticed in that Izzy fight, I went back and watched the main event actually the other day, and Izzy's reactions have slowed so down.
Yeah,
like if this was 4 years ago, like he would have ate DDP for breakfast. Let's be real here.
Yeah,
but his reactions have completely gone. He can't move now. He doesn't move backwards anymore on his feet. He turns his body and walks. That's a sign of a guy who knows his reactions are not there anymore. And he got submitted very, very easy. And I've always said this: Anderson Silva for me is the GOAT middleweight ever in UFC, and I still think he is now. I know Anderson, when it went all wrong for him, I think he was 38 when he lost, though. So I think he was a little bit older, And
the leg break just.
Yeah, and that's when his career finished. He never came back from it, and he carried on fighting because he just don't know what else to do. But his legacy was tarnished because of it. But I don't see Anderson Silva getting submitted like that. Getting walked up and just submitted like that. And for me, he's the second greatest at middleweight, but I will put Anderson Silva still there. I just don't know what Izzy's going to do now, really. He's 35. He's got to he's got to come through the ranks again. And I don't know if he wants to come through the ranks again. Also, I don't know if he's going to win any fights. And that's not me having a go at him. I'm just looking at his reaction time, his timings now. His reactions. He's easy to hit now. And Izzy's never, I don't think, ever had the greatest chin in the world. He was just so good at absorbing a blow because of his head movement and the way he moved. He's never been like a knockout specialist or anything like that. But his work with distance, for me, was second to none in the middleweight division.
Yeah.
And now you're taking that away from him because of his speed now and his reaction time, and say he can't really use the distance like he used to, because as we saw with DDP now, they're just coming at him. They take the shot to come at him, and he's getting overruled by that. He's not big enough.
Strickland did the same.
Strickland did the same. Yeah, Strickland did the same. And Strickland's not, I would say, is, you know what Strickland's doing. It's not like you can't see anything coming with Strickland. So if Izzy, DDP and Strickland are not the quickest middleweights, you know what's coming. They're a bit unorthodox, but you know they're unorthodox. You know what's coming. It's not like they're slipping the jabs or anything like that. I just don't know where Izzy goes from here. He's not going to get a title shot again for probably another 18 months if he goes and wins fights. So does Izzy just want to be a gatekeeper? He can't be that. People can't be fighting Izzy just as it's a name, so I beat Izzy, I'll get a title shot. You don't want to see that from Izzy. I don't think he's big enough to go to 205, and he's too big to go down to 170. So Izzy is one of these fighters that are very rare in the UFC, actually, that is stuck in a weight division. Yeah. And that, I think, is a problem for Izzy, because most fighters where we see when they're in this part of their career, they will either have like Chris Wildman. He went up like Evie, didn't he? He had to get away from it to try and rejuvenate his career, but it didn't work for him. We've seen it before. Izzy, for me, is just stuck in this weight division. I can't see where he goes. So I think Izzy will take another fight, but if he loses that, I think that'll be the end of Izzy in MMA, personally.
You know what, Jeremy? Speaking a lot of facts there.
It's hard to hear that, but I can't disagree with anything you said, Joe.
Even though in periods in that fight, you saw the glimpses as like, the old Adesanya is back. But I completely agree. I think for me personally, because he was so active when he first came into the UFC, he was taking fights every 3 to 4 months. He was basically carrying the UFC through the pandemic period when he was taking fights against Costa, against Blachowicz, against did he fight Vettori in the Apex?
No, Vettori was in front of a crowd.
Yeah, in front of a crowd. So he definitely carried, ironically, the Three Kings, the whole thing that the feud was built upon. They carried the UFC through the pandemic period with their activity. Obviously, I haven't really done enough research into the Kamaru Usman Henry Cejudo, a little beef on their podcast which they had, which was I
wouldn't say it was
very
beef.
Interesting.
You said the name. You said the name.
Oh, sorry.
Gave me heartburn.
I wouldn't say it was beef. It was more. It's weird because it turned from a conversation about Plessis into a wider conversation about race. So it's a bit. I wouldn't say it was a beef. It was more. Kamaru was saying something, and he was saying something that was kind of true, but Henry was kind of trying to steer the conversation away from out of fear.
Yeah, but I'm not going to touch on that because I've not watched all the footage, so I do not want to be making assumptions. But I think with Izzy, I completely agree with you, Jamie. He is stuck because I think he weighed on fight night 201 pounds, which is the most he's ever weighed. And if any guys remember in the chat, when he fought Blachowicz, he was 200, and he was eating pizza on the scale.
No, he weighed 193 for the Blachowicz fight, bro. With pizza in his hand, tracksuit bottoms on, and trainers as well, I believe.
He's too skinny. He can't put weight on.
Yeah. So he is stuck. Like for me, I don't know whether or not he wants another run at the belt. The way he's speaking, he wants to fight again because obviously no fighter wants to go out on a loss. But I don't think he's got that desire. I don't think he's got that hunger because there's I think me and you spoke about it last night, Callum. There are young and hungry contenders waiting for him.
Yeah.
The grappling
as well. You look at someone like a Bo Nickel. If Bo Nickel gets a hold of Izzy, could be crazy.
I don't know who Izzy's going to beat. I don't think he's going to beat Robert Whittaker right now. I don't think he's going to beat Cannonier, maybe. I don't think he's going to beat Vettori right now. Is he going to want to fight someone like Brandon Allen, who's 7th ranked? What's the point of that? He's fought Paulo Costa before, so there's no point in that. You got Hamzat. You got obviously Hamzat, who I think that's the fight. If Hamzat loses his fight to Whittaker, I think they make Hamzat and Izzy as the next fight. And then if Izzy can come through that, then he probably gets one more fight after that, and then he gets a title fight if he can get back into winning ways. But I just can't see him doing it, unfortunately, because you can tell when a fighter is not done, but they're quite far off what they used to be.
For me, he's got two options. He's got two options. Before we touch on the champ, du Plessis, I don't think it will happen because I know a certain Yuri Prochazka was talking about dropping down to 185 pounds. And if you want something fresh, something to get Izzy, out of bed, that is definitely the fight to get him out of bed for. Yuri Prochazka at
they're
185
good
pounds.
friends. I don't think they'll fight. They're really good friends.
Well, let's see how much money gets dangled across before they say, yeah, you know what, let's have a scrap.
Yeah,
Or
Izzy, he's good for money. Maybe Prochazka. I think Prochazka would probably take the fight because I don't think he would see it as a personal thing. I don't know if they'd fight.
Or another thing is like, I hate fighters doing this, but Sean Strickland was on a podcast recently and he got asked, would you fight Izzy if you won the belt again? And he was like, yes, I would give Izzy a rematch. So another thing Izzy could do, just sit and wait
No,
to see how du Plessis because he has still got that level of pull that he could sit on his hands, even come off back-to-back losses. It's a difficult sell.
no, they can't. No, I think this one was pushing it. If they do it again, that'd be crazy.
Well, we were talking about like, could you see Kamaru Usman fight Bilal Muhammad, even though Kamaru Usman's 0-3? And we're probably thinking, yeah, you probably could spin it in a way that fans would forget that he's 0-3 in his last three.
The reason why it'd be easier for Usman, though, I'd say, bro, is Usman fought Hamza on what was it, 10 days notice at a higher weight class?
Yeah.
And it was I don't know, no, it's a unanimous decision, but a lot of people had Usman win the fight as well. Whereas no one had Izzy beat Strickland and he got stopped by du Plessis fair and square. There was no controversy in any of it. And he had full camps for both of those fights. Regardless of whether he came in injured or not to the Strickland fight, it wasn't disclosed, so you have to take it at face value. Usman fought Leon Edwards and lost a close fight. In fact, no, I thought it was 4-1, but it wasn't a domination as such. And then against Hamzat, he fought a late notice. So it's an easier sell for Usman. Plus, Izzy would have lost back-to-back title fights.
True. But anyway, let's hope Izzy, takes the time he wants to recover. We hopefully will see back in the octagon soon. But let's talk about the champ. Dricus du Plessis, the most unorthodox fighter I've probably seen. Doesn't look clean, doesn't look, technical, but gets the job done. And I'll start off with you, Callum. Dricus sort of silencing the haters because he had a lot of people questioning him, thinking, Dricus, is he that guy? Did he really beat Strickland? People think, Izzy's just gonna, Izzy's gonna decimate him. You had MMA broadcasters and former fighters, Brendan Schwab, saying that Izzy's gonna wreck him. You had Darren Till, wanting to send, advice to Dricus. I have to say, Dricus has been collecting receipts off the back of it, and it's beautiful to see when fighters collect their receipts. But yeah, like, what do you think of Dricus's performance as a whole?
I think there's so many similarities between Bilal Muhammad and Dricus both winning against predominantly strikers who everyone's thought would piece those guys up. I'm not Dricus' biggest fan, but one thing I would never, ever question is his will to win. I think his will and desire and mentality to win far outweighs any of his physical gifts or skills. I look at him and he looks like a guy who punches deceptively hard. I'm not talking about that. He hasn't got that Pereira, like, I'll hit you once and knock you out. He's probably got that. He'll hit you and you'll go, bloody hell, I don't want to get hit by that again. So it's not a punch that knocks you out, but it's a thudding punch that literally hurts you. It's not a flash punch. He hits you and you're like, I don't want to be getting hit by that guy again. I'm very unorthodox. I think he's got very good grappling and he's strong. And you know what? he can take a punch.
Mm.
I think people sleep on the fact that he walked Darren Till down, he walked Whitaker down, he's walked Izzy down, he walked Strickland down. The guy can take a punch, but his will to win is so undeniable that if you don't respect him, whether you like him or not, if you don't respect Dricus, I don't know what else he can do to get your respect. Like, he's beaten Whitaker, Strickland, and Izzy in a row.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And he's kept up a very good schedule. And let's not forget, he didn't need to take the Whitaker fight. He said he wanted to take that fight to prove to people that he wasn't going to get gifted a title shot. You see that mentality there? That's a dangerous man.
Well, obviously, people, have accused him as Dricus. He's a bit of a boring fighter.
No, he's not.
Doesn't really do much. Doesn't really offer much. Yeah, I'm going to share the screen, right?
He's never had a boring fight. Where is this coming from? He's never had a boring fight.
Well, people like to spin narratives. We know people like to spin narratives. I'm going to share my screen, right, of Dricus, of his record since coming into the UFC, right? What's the one thing that you're noticing here from when you fought Marcus Perez?
Wins, isn't it?
Yeah, wins. But what are you noticing? Finish, submission, finish. He's had 2 decisions since he's joined the UFC.
And both
2
were very
decisions.
exciting fights.
And both were exciting fights. And people say this guy's boring. This guy's a finisher. This guy is a finisher. And yes, is he the most, I do think, I don't know if not that you agree, Jamie. I do think that MMA is sort of evolving into like a new era of, we had the pure grappler, or we've had the pure striker, and now we're heading into an era where you don't need to be elite at any of those aspects, but you just need to have that grit, that determination that I will not give up no matter what the cost. And you're sort of seeing that with Bilal now becoming champion. Dricus is becoming champion. When you look at them as fighters, you couldn't really pick out an elite skill that they have. Not elite striker, not an elite grappler. Maybe got elite cardio, and maybe got elite mentality. Like, I do feel like that's the breed of champions that we'll get, is just the undeniable grit and determination to win.
Yeah, I'm going to say this again. I keep saying this. Fighters today is not as good as they were 10 or 15 years ago. The heavyweight division's crap. As soon as Aspinall wins the title, I don't ever see him losing it. There's no one there.
Jamie,
There's no one there.
We're going to leave that to later.
Middleweight, same with DDP right now. Don't see him losing it. It's got to be a freak accident for him to lose it, because everyone's shit. Let's just be fair here. Robert Whitaker is probably the only guy apart from Sean Strickland, and that's it. Everyone's crap. There's a lack of talent.
Or is it just crap as in the mentality? Because we talk about, like, in football, right? Oh, this guy's got skills, he's got everything, but he's not as good as the other guy who maybe has got less skill, but it's just got that mentality to go that one step further. Do you think that's the difference now between fighters then and fighters now, that they've got the talent, but they're not willing to work hard?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, DDP works hard. He's got mentality. I think Robert Whitaker has as well. I don't think Hamza has. I haven't seen no proof of that yet.
Yeah, Hamza's still really unknown. I agree, Jim.
Yeah. Izzy had the mentality. I just think that's going now with age. It's not his problem. It's just age catches up with everyone. Apart from that, I do think there's a lack of talent. I really do think there's a lack of talent, and that's because Dana has done what Vince did in WWE, and that's monopolize a company where, there's a lot of talent out there, but they're not willing to pay the money to get this talent through the line, or they treat talent like shit. The middleweight division, I don't personally think DDP's that good. Yeah. 10 to 15 years ago, DDP wouldn't even be a champion. Yeah, the talent is not that good. So I don't see him losing it for like unless Robert Whittaker. I think he's the only one because I think Robert Whittaker got a bit cocky in the DDP fight and didn't respect him, and that's why he got knocked out.
Yeah.
So in the next time, if they fight again, he'll have most respect for him, and I think he can outwork DDP. So apart from that, no one in this division. It's pants, absolute
Do you
pants.
agree, Callum? Before we move on to the rest of the card.
The thing is, I don't like. It's a tricky one because what Jay's saying, like, I can't sit and be like Jay's wrong. What I do think, though, I think the gap's closer between all the top fighters now than it was in the past. So, like, you had Anderson Silva before, and then the rest. Whereas now you've got Dricus, you've got Izzy, you've got Rob. I think they're all closer to each other, so the talent might look less. Here's the thing: Anderson Silva. Prime Anderson Silva in this division now, he's still champion.
Yeah.
And Prime Anderson Silva back then was champion. But then you've got other people who have come and gone, like Yoel Romero, Luke Rockhold. Like Rockhold for me would have probably been a champion right now in this division.
A Rockhold back then would beat DDP now.
Yeah, then you've got Jacare. Jacare Souza would have probably beaten DDP. Romero at his peak.
And this is what I'm saying. We're in this year where, like you saying,
weird.
they're all quite level, but that level's not exactly high.
Yeah,
well,
it's not
Woodley's
high.
Feet's got a comment here. Shout out Woodley's Feet. He said, "Fighters are more well-rounded now than they were 15 years ago."
I don't agree. I don't totally agree with that.
Because I think you had more specialists then.
I think 15 years ago, most of them fighters beat today's fighters.
It's hard to say. It's so hard to say because
I think Dan Hardy blows most of these people away. I think what's his name? Who am I thinking of here?
Well,
it's a bloke. No, it's a bloke who knocked Bisping out in 100.
Well, Dan Henderson.
Dan Henderson would win the middleweight title in this division right now. You just blow them all away. Jules St. Pierre be welterweight champion. I just don't. I don't think there is that. I don't think there is that much of a difference. I really don't.
I'll just go through a few comments here. So Woodley's Feet saying that it's hard to fight now. It's definitely harder to get fights because fighters are more. They're trying to go down the boxing route. Don't want to protect their rankings. Cameron says it's got a lot to do with training. They do a little bit extra than what fighters did in the past.
Yeah, that's science and technology. That's like football. Any sport evolves, isn't it?
CJ saying, I think Briallo has a chance to become a middleweight champion. Well, he's got a massive opportunity against Jared Cannonier this weekend. That's for sure. I think Callum's internet just dropped out. Yeah, while you were off there, Jay, just bring Callum back in.
Sorry, I had a coffee a bit.
That Cameron said that it's got a lot to do with the training. They do a little bit extra than what fighters did in the past. And then CJ said he thinks Briallo has a chance to become a middleweight champion. He's got a massive test against Jared Cannonier. I know Jared's not the fighter he once was, but he's definitely no mug. Now you're talking about a gatekeeper. He is probably one of the best gatekeepers around. And Woodley Feet saying who beats Islam 15 years ago?
BJ Penn. I think everyone forgets how good BJ Penn was.
Yeah, I think people do.
He was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
I don't know if he beats Islam, but I don't know if Islam beats him. That's a 50-50 fight, in my opinion.
That's what I'm saying.
So, Islam's better on the feet than BJ Penn was, but BJ Penn's better on the ground than Islam.
Let's put a prime Wanderlei Silva in the middleweight division right now.
Oh yeah, it'd be mad.
Let's put a prime Krokop in the heavyweight division. Let's put a prime Fedor in the heavyweight division. Let's put a Rampage, a prime
light heavyweight.
Yeah, a prime Jackson, Rampage Jackson in the middleweight or light heavyweight division. Dan Henderson. These fighters are all better. They're all better. I don't care. People can give me all your. They're not as good, and that's the reason why no one's going to remember DDP like we remember Dan Henderson in the future.
Do you know what I thought of? Rampage Jackson versus Alex Pereira.
Yeah, violence.
Woo!
And I'm talking about 2005.
Yeah.
2005 Rampage causes
No
Pereira
Russians
so
15
much
years
issue.
ago. I think there were Russian fights around 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Fedor's around.
Yeah.
Fedor's around.
Fedor, Alexander as well.
The last emperor himself was around. But yeah, I will wrap it up there as in the main event. Let's touch on the rest of the card. Co-main event. Kai, I can't pronounce his name properly.
Yeah.
Just say Kai.
Kyra France
France.
knocks out Steve Ursig in the first round.
Beautiful.
Definitely a shock, especially by myself. I thought Ursig was going to win.
Will do.
I don't know who wants to take this first, but Kyra France has punched his ticket as number one contender now, surely.
Yeah, he's good.
Surely.
I mean, I don't think he's going to get the next title fight. By the sounds of it, Pantoja's getting the geezer that's coming up.
Which we mental, by the way. I don't think there's anyone in UFC history that's got a title shot on their debut.
It's because the division's shit. That's why.
Because he's beating everyone in the division. Ironically, him and Kyra France have never fought.
Yeah. It should be the fight. Well, I don't think it will be, though.
I'm trying to think of what you just said, if that statement's true, Luke.
Not to my understanding. I know there's been like records of like, Brock had a couple of fights before he was champ, before he got.
Yeah, I know Brock didn't. Ronda didn't. Ronda came in as they just gave Ronda the championship
back in the early days of UFC.
Find out,
I know it is. It's the blonde guy, heavyweight UFC back in the past. Went and fought in Pride. Got his own wrestling school now, pro wrestling school. Got popped for steroids and actually lost the title because of it.
I was going to say Shamrock, but Shamrock.
No, Shamrock.
He's a blonde guy, heavyweight. He won the title actually on his debut. I think and then he never defended it because he got popped for steroids. He fought in Pride, and he's got his own pro wrestling school, and he's got his company's called Bloodsport.
Josh Barnett? You talking about Josh Barnett?
Yeah, Josh Barnett.
Did he do it on his first? Was it on his debut?
I believe it was on his debut, and he never defended it because he popped for steroids.
I'm trying to think. Any women? Ronda Rousey, Jermaine Durandamy. Did she get a title shot enough? Because I know she fought for the 145 belt against Holly Holm. Did she get?
Kayla Harrison's probably only one fight away, ain't she? So she's probably going to be the closest.
You might be right though, Luke. So hold on, he's not had one fight in the UFC.
No, he's just been signed.
Isn't he ranked in the top 10 already though?
Nope.
That's
Taihiro.
Oh, so who's the guy you're talking about then?
Asakura from Japan. Like he's supposed to be like elite, like one of the best around.
Okay. And they're saying they're going to give him a title shot just off the bat.
Well, that's the rumor. That's the rumor anyway. But for me personally, Kyra France has earned the opportunity. He just fought a guy that many people thought beat Pantoja.
Yeah.
The last fight. So I know MMA maths doesn't really, work out from time to time. But for me, I think it makes sense. But I know Dana said that I think it was confirmed that they're going to go back to China at some point, either end of this year or start of next year. And that's a perfect opportunity to get that type of title fight in sort of like China, that area. So that makes perfect sense. But for Steve Ursig, I feel really sorry for him, but I do feel like he has been poorly advised to take this fight in Australia, because it was only 3 months previously that he had an absolute war with Pantoja, and he should have taken the rest of the year off to sort of recuperate, because to have less than about 3 months for time off to train to cut again, I think was a very bad decision and cost him dearly, because you'll get fans that go, was Steve Ursig ever that good?
Yeah.
Which is crazy disrespectful after the performance he put in. But I think Ursig, I don't want to see you till next year, my friend. Rest, recover, go back to the drawing board, and hopefully we'll see you against Albazi, maybe a Tim Elliott, Matt Schnell.
I was going to say, I think you need to build him back up. I wouldn't give him a top 5 opponent next. I'd probably give him like a top 15 opponent.
Do you agree, Jamie?
Yeah, probably. I mean, like, yeah, top 3 opponent. I'm not sure. Yeah, Kai probably should get the fight.
Kai should definitely.
He should get the fight.
If he doesn't, it's a travesty, really.
Kai should get the fight, and then. But if they want to get this guy coming in making his debut from Japan, and they think that much of him, and as you said, the division's pretty done, they might just have to get it a Pantoja, and then you got a little freeway between Kai, the guy from Japan, I can't remember his name, and Pantoja. You got a nice little freeway there for the belt that can carry you on for a year or so. So maybe that's why they go look at it.
Yeah, personally, I do feel like that they want to keep Pantoja having the belt because a future O'Malley fight at 35, potential money fight there, bit of a background. O'Malley's really sparring, so you can see that sort of materializing in the future. But everyone that is still, this is the most watched stream on the channel, so massive thank you to everyone that is tuned in. But make sure to smash the like button as well. We're still recapping UFC 305, and then obviously we've got more Dana White cooking. You thought last night on the Sanderson Show, Dana had to speak again, and we're going to cook him a little bit more in a bit. But let's touch on the rest of the card. Mateus Gamrot loses via split decision to Dan Hooker. I'll start with you, Callum. Was Gamrot robbed?
No.
No.
I think it could have gone either way. I don't think he was robbed. If Hooker lost the fight, I don't think he would have been robbed either. I think it was a fair decision. It was just a really close fight. It's just it was a split decision for a reason. It was a close fight, and I think it could have gone either way. I will say though, the result is probably the best thing that could have happened to the lightweight division, because there are now so many options with fights and what to do next. I think it's re-energized that division.
Yeah, and obviously Hooker makes his return to the top 5 for the first time in 4 years.
2020.
He's sort of had an up and down road. He lost to Islam on short notice, dropped back down to featherweight, got knocked out. Then he sort of went on a 3-0 run against people that are ranked way outside, like top 15. Fought Jalen Turner, which was a very touch and go, but he managed to get the win.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a big win for him, and hey, it opens up so many opportunities, Jamie, with Dan Hooker now winning and entering the top 5. As Callum said, probably the best thing this result has done. It's now opened up new options, new fight opportunities. Does Dan Hooker get his rematch against Charles? Does he fight for the BMF belt? Does he get the Indian title shot? Does he call out McGregor? Which everyone does. What do you do if you're Dan Hooker now? Literally, you've got, apart from having an actual title shot, the options are all there for him.
Well, he's either going to fight Oliveira, Gaethje, or Poirier. That's it.
Do you think he'll not get an interim title shot? Because with Islam being out for the end of the year, the UFC would make an interim title.
I think Charles Oliveira's going to get that if he wins. Danica being 5th ranked is everything wrong with UFC. I'm not. I'm just. No, he's not great. He's not good.
He's Cowboy. He is
He's just Cowboy, Australian Cerrone. That's all he is, man.
But Cowboy was ranked as high as number 2, I think, at one stage.
Yeah, Cowboy got a title shot against Eddie Alvarez. Do people not remember this? Eddie Alvarez
he beat Eddie. It's weird. He beat Eddie Alvarez, and then Alvarez went and won the belt, and then he fought RDA, lost to RDA, and Eddie Alvarez beat RDA. It's a weird time.
MMA maths for you, right?
Yeah.
I just Dan Hooker fifth in the world is just look. He's going to get smashed up when he fights the better fighters. So it's just the way it is. He's not beating Charles Oliveira. He's not beating Gaethje. He's not beating Dustin Poirier.
Oh, do you know what? I have to say, Jamie, I do think he's got a chance against Gaethje.
I think he beats Gaethje at the moment.
I do think. Big up Franklin as well. Notice it's tougher to make entertaining now. What's making it tougher?
To make the fight more entertaining.
Yeah, that's true.
So they all love wrestling. It's boring as shit.
Yeah, but I do think Dan Hooker in this position, yes, he's probably not the best fighter in the world. He's not by a country mile, but it gives us, the fans, plenty of exciting fights to see. Like personally, I'd love to see Hooker versus Gaethje. I'd love to see Hooker versus Max. I'd love to see a rematch between Dustin.
That'd be the fight. It'd be Hooker Dustin
for Dustin's retirement fight. So there are plenty of options out there.
The thing is with Dustin, Dustin is still ranked. So Dustin can't have things his own way unless he wants to retire. Can't just pick and choose now.
Yeah.
He's still ranked. So if there's a fight to be made right now that makes absolute sense, it's Dan Hooker is ranked 5th and Dustin Poirier is ranked 4th. So just do the fight. That's the fight that makes sense for Dan Hooker as well. It'll be a rematch. Poirier, as much as I like Dustin, he's not this star that can choose where he fights and what he does. He's not that guy. He's ranked in the company. He's not retired. He's got to put up or shut up. So give the fight to make is Dan Hooker Dustin. If Dan Hooker comes through that, then he's got a title fight.
2 more options for Dan Hooker we haven't even spoken about. Benoit Saint-Denis. Paddy Pimblett's the other one as well.
Oh my day, Cal.
There's fun fights there. There's fun fights
when you look at
Hooker versus BSD could be a madness.
That's only if BSD beats Moicano in Paris, though.
Yeah. But if Moicano wins, then you got Moicano versus Hooker as well.
Because you're thinking, right? How are we going to get Paddy in that top 5 real quick? Most of the fighters would beat him, right? Dan Hooker's in that top 5. You're probably thinking, does Paddy beat Hooker?
I think Chandler or Hooker's the next fight for Paddy if you want him in the top 5.
I can definitely see
they're winnable fights for Paddy. I'm not saying he will win them, but they're winnable.
Yeah. But hey ho, hopefully, we'll get Franklin. Do you trust Dana to make these fights? No. But Dana, don't worry. The Dana cooking is coming very soon. I will touch on this is very briefly. Tai Tuivasa loses 5th in the row against Charles Rosenstrike. Let's not touch on the fight. Let's talk on that disgusting scorecard. 30-27. Are we watching different fights here?
No, we're watching.
Is this corruption?
Yeah, we're watching
corruption. Its finest. 30-27.
At least they got pulled out. At least they did the right
thing. I have to say, fair play to the UFC. You did pull out the ref, but that was a honky decision.
To the rest of those, he needs to pack his bags and go home and do something else. I'm sick of these shit fighters, man. Just go away. I am so sick of dead fighters. 5 losses in a row. Pack your bags, go home. What we're doing here, it's meant to be the best company in the world. Why are we keeping bums? Gee, that's my head in. What's happened to this company, man?
Ty's a weird one. They won't get rid of Ty. He draws too much.
Yeah.
He draws it, does he?
So he's an entertaining fighter, plus he does the shoey and stuff like that.
Oh wow. Keep him in.
Remember, it's not really about your record anymore, Joe. It's about how many eyes you bring into the product. Ross Ferguson would have been that guy of ages ago.
No, Slap brings more eyes to the product, so that's what's happening.
Hey, Jamie, you don't mention that. You don't mention that on my channel no more. No. I will beat you off this channel real quick. Don't mention that sport to me. It's not a sport.
It's better than UFC right now.
And that is damning. That is
Yeah,
damning.
really
But we'll touch on the Leech. He got absolutely destroyed against Parates, who in his post Woodley Feet saying Jamie Connor is a dumb fighter. He's definitely is now. Definitely is now. But yeah, we saw I know what the funny thing was, not the fight itself, was Prates' post fight where he's like, I want my post fight cigarette. Has anyone got a cigarette?
That's great.
Say, just get them gone. I don't want these bums. Go away.
Oh,
Go back to bar fighting or something. What is going on?
pick DDP by 3rd round KO. Round 4 subs, all right. Yeah, it is.
I predicted around 3 sub.
I think I predicted DDP decisions. So, right. Everyone, I know the 63 people watching. This is the bit you've all been waiting for. The cooking part 2, the Dana White still defending Jon Jones. If you haven't seen part 1, check out the Sanderson Show, last night's show, where we went through, everything that was said. And then Woodley's Feet saying Connor's a bum. He should go, Jamie. Well,
I'm with you. Conor should retire.
Jamie.
In fact, Conor McGregor should be in prison. That's how far I'll go.
Okay, big facts.
That's the right thing. Yeah, you're right.
I'm going to play a clip. Let me just have a look. Sorry, it's just there's some movement upstairs, but I'll just play a clip. I accidentally got rid of it, so I'll just. This is a Dana White from his Contender Series press conference. I just have to make sure. No, you know what? I should have mentioned the other thing that Dana said. Actually, he said that Dricus du Plessis fights like a white guy dances.
What does that even mean?
A bit racist there, Dana.
What does that even mean?
Is that what Dana said?
That's what that. Yeah. Shall I play the clip? Yeah.
So Dana just insulted his champion. Oh,
yeah,
fuck.
I'm playing the clip. Can you see that, boys? You see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the Dricus one, and then we'll touch on the Jon Jones stuff.
I thought that Israel looked incredible. Dricus is so awkward and unorthodox. He's got to be the toughest guy to train for. He fights like a white guy dances. It's so crazy and awkward, and you know what I mean. It's but very effective.
Yeah. So Dana just casually insulting.
It did not look impressive, Dana.
He said incredible, Jay. Like, I'm Izzy's fan. I'm the Izzy fan guy. He spoke more glowingly about Israel Adesanya than he did about Dricus du Plessis just then.
He's got his people, man.
Okay, so now Dana White says he thinks Jon Jones would challenge himself to fight Tom Aspinall if he beats Stipe. I'll play the clip. As I say, run the clip.
He'll probably defend.
Yeah, John is one of those, challenging guys to deal with. And I think that, he's talking about retiring, but will he, if the Aspinall thing is really flying out there? I personally think John challenges himself and takes the fight. And I think he does it.
Well, Dana, it doesn't look like you know your fighters very well, mate, because he is dipping the second he beats Steve. But don't worry. It shall continue. Don't worry. There's still more, people. There's still more. That's how the Ankle Liars thing. I'll probably touch on that in a separate video. Look at how happy this guy is now.
I know the whole internet. Oh, Jon Jones, he's fucking, that I'm up Jon Jones' ass. These are fucking facts. Facts. And since everybody has been such douchebags about this, I'm coming out with a nice little punch in the face for all you fuckers that think that Jon Jones is the greatest of all time. Dislike him, whatever your beef is with Jon Jones, knock yourself out. There is no way in hell that Jon Jones doesn't want to fight Aspinall.
So
That I guarantee you.
I just see
Can
if
I
there's any-
jump in on this? I know you guys are going to cook him. Can I just jump in on this one?
Yeah,
Real
yeah,
quick?
yeah. It's just it's things.
The conversation or the debate was never about Jon Jones being the GOAT. It was about pound for pound number one. Two very different conversations. It was also about the fact that he's not biting Tom Aspinall. He's cherry picking Stipe Miocic. So again, Dana's just showing how out of the loop he is with this. It doesn't make sense what he's talking about.
This is Jon
Right.
Jones' Twitter comment he made. Man, I appreciate the boss and the comments he made in last night's press conference. Sounds like I have massive options on the table. An athlete's dream. Right now, I need to get back to focusing on the task at hand, despite what some of the casuals think. Stipe's no joke. It's crazy where we live in a world where you can go from the best heavyweight ever to washed up after a bad performance.
It's
The
not just
reality
washed up. It's not just washed
Francis
up after a bad
would have knocked
performance.
out 98% of people on the planet that night, but somehow Stipe's washed up. Stipe's not competing. Stipe's not competing so long tells me that he's had plenty of time to heal and rebuild. Let me get back to focusing on the task at hand. That's what's got me this far. My focus, I do what others can't. Who wants to have a go first?
Yeah. Sorry again, Jay. Sorry. Can I break that down? I tell you what he's doing. He's trying to big up Stipe as much as possible so that when he beats him, it looks like a fantastic win. We are not saying that Stipe's washed up because he had a bad performance. Anyone can have a bad performance. We're saying Stipe's washed because he had a bad performance where he was knocked out over 3 years ago. We've not seen him since. And the last time we saw him walk into the octagon, he was limping and looked gingerly. He looked like he was struggling to walk, let alone fight. And he's not done anything since that knockout KO to deserve a title shot. I don't get what John and Dana don't get about this. It's like they're just in their little bubble and they don't understand why people are so annoyed with this situation.
I just go through comments. Dana's tapped out. He's all on power slap. Big
Yeah,
facts. He was talking about that Tom in the last clip. Absolutely, because Tom cooked him with facts.
Well, Tom's
And
coming
I
out with something tonight on his channel on Thursday. He said he was coming out with something. So,
is he? Well, I'll be watching that. Obviously, we'll do a reaction. I'll say do a reaction on Friday, but I'll be doing the walk, so probably not. Dilios with laughing face. Tom Aspinall needs 2 more defenses to beat Stipe's record for F's sakes. Hey, and Jon Jones would still need to fight at least another 2 times to even go above.
Can we go through
record.
Stipe's record? Can we talk about Stipe's record? Stipe never beat anyone in their prime. Right.
Luke, what did I say yesterday?
He's never beat anyone in his prime, man. He's not beaten anyone in his prime. Stipe is the most overrated heavyweight of all time.
Luke, what did I say yesterday?
Hey, big facts, man.
He's the most overrated.
And I love
heavyweight
Stipe. I love
ever.
Stipe, but when you break down his resume,
Hey, yeah, I hate this phrase, but I'm going to say it now. Speak your truth.
Yeah, he's
Speak
overrated.
your truth, boys. Yeah?
He's overrated. He's been destroyed. The fight against Ngannou was so bad that he basically went into semi-retirement. He hasn't fought for 3 years. The heavyweight division has moved on and gone past him. No one remembers or cares about him. He don't even remember his wife's name. But we're meant to be all happy for him fighting Jon Jones, a bloated light heavyweight.
Hey, if you've seen the images, that guy's not in the gym training. He's eating everything he sees.
Yeah. We waited 3 years for Jon Jones to make a heavyweight decision. And he said he had to work on his body to get muscular. And all he just came with a gut. You know, and then they cherry picked the right fighter for him.
yeah,
They just gave him someone who has literally got no groundwork. And you notice they didn't give him Aspinall, who would have destroyed him. You know, it's just, he will not fight Tom Aspinall. I can guarantee you right now. He will not fight. He will beat Stipe within, I reckon, 2.5 minutes, if that. Dana White will then go on after the fight in the press conference. It's the greatest heavyweight
Yeah.
He's the greatest heavyweight victory he's ever seen in his life because he beat the greatest heavyweight of all time, Stipe Miocic. Although he won't tell you the truth, but Stipe bought people out of their prime. He's like 58 years old. He don't know his wife and kids' names, and they're going to say that's a great win. Jon Jones is a blown up light heavyweight. Aspinall can't get down to light heavyweight even if he tried. Aspinall is too good in his jiu-jitsu, his judo, his clinch work. His leg kicks are devastating, and his power
Hey,
is
Jamie,
devastating.
did you see the wrestling he did with the rugby player? And Jon Jones tweeted. Did you watch Callum Show last night? Because I don't want to
I saw a bit, yeah.
As old ground, but he commented on that like clip of him wrestling.
Mm.
You know, Jon Jones, talking his shit. My turn now. This is my turn now. This is for Dana. Yeah, you want to talk about facts, yeah? This guy is a drugs cheat. Facts. Yeah? This guy has messed you around, sabotaged events, changed everything on a dime because he couldn't fight in one athletic commission because he popped. Facts. Yeah? We will never know who was really better out of DC and Jon Jones because not DC, Jones popped not once, but twice. Then goes and brags about it on podcasts. But how I used to get pissed and basically get all coked up before my fights. So I have a built-in excuse. That's a fact. Jon Jones is not a big draw in this company. That's a fact. He's never sold over 1 million pay-per-views. That's a fact. He is a nightmare to work with. He has priced himself out of fights. Why do you think he was so quiet when Ngannou was the champion? Yeah. That's why he priced himself out. On purpose, 15 million he wanted. But now you talk about, I'll retire. When a real challenge, probably the hardest challenge of your career in Tom Aspinall, fighter in his prime, at his natural weight, not beating up little middleweights that couldn't be bothered to cut weight no more. We're talking about Stipe not fighting fighters in their prime. When did Jon Jones last fight a fighter in their prime? The silence.
Probably Reyes, Dominic Reyes.
Yeah, probably Reyes.
And he lost that fight.
And he lost that. And Dana admitted that he lost that. But, it is crazy. And Dana, I think Dana's probably going to give Jon a big contract for these fights to try and max profits, which is mostly going to flop. Yeah, this pay-per-view will flop. Trust me.
I don't think it will. Because I think they'll stack the card.
Yeah. Woodley's Feet, that's a great idea for a video. That's an absolute great idea for a video. And yes, we'll do a video of that. For that, we'll probably go into that.
I'm in the process of actually doing a series on that called Fantasy Fights.
Can you guys do a show of past fighters against current fighters? I believe past goats won't be goats in the future. The sport has become more elite and well-rounded. Who beats who in the past?
Show of it, but I'm going to do a whole series on this.
So make sure you check that out. But
fighters, that shit, man.
The thing is, the biggest person damaging the UFC and the product is Dana White.
Yeah.
The guy that created it, made it the company it is, he is damaging it with his own self-interest, his ego. He's damaging this product. This product is bland. This guy, no one can tell him nothing because you just get fired. As Jamie said multiple times, he is the UFC's Vince McMahon. The only thing that's getting him out of that hot seat is if there's a big scandal. And even him hitting his wife wasn't a big enough scandal. Brushed it off.
Maybe
brushed it off.
Maybe he can be walking the street when Jon Jones have one of his boozy driving moments. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that'd be poetic justice, wouldn't it? Look, I've looked back on all this with Dana's the way he treats people.
Yeah. Look at that. Do you see the clip? I'm actually going to play that clip. Actually, I'll find that clip. Yeah, Jamie, sorry.
Did you see the? Do you remember what he did to Randy Couture?
Yeah.
And the reason he alienated Randy Couture is because Randy Couture wanted more money and more reinsurances.
Yeah.
Dana didn't think he was worth it, and Randy thought he was worth it. Randy beat Randy. Everyone forgets that Randy won the title against Tim Sylvia because Dana badly needed him back because the heavyweight was a joke. So he needed Couture back. He won the title, and then Couture went missing for a year. Couture tried to set up a fight with Fedor in another company.
Yeah.
But that fight never happened because the reason that fight never happened is because Dana then decided to bring Randy back and give him the money he wanted. But as punishment, he gave him Brock Lesnar, who he knew Brock Lesnar would destroy him. So Dana's, but Jon Jones he's been arrested multiple times. He has popped for different drug uses multiple times. He took steroids and covered it with a disguising drug that basically disguises you taking steroids. The fight continued. He has fought so many times that's not clean in this company that's meant to be clean is a joke. He stopped a pay. There's never been in the history of UFC one pay-per-view has ever been cancelled. It's because of Jon Jones.
On that one, Jay, I don't actually blame John for that. I blame the UFC for that.
Oh, I blame the UFC, but it was, it was because of John at the end of the day.
Technically, it's because of Henderson. Henderson actually didn't disclose his injury until too close to the fight. Henderson knew about the injury for a little while before that.
But that's happened so many times. They never cancel a show.
But that's because the UFC depended everything on Jones. I don't think any fight should be forced to take a last-minute replacement, especially if it's
shouldn't. But you can't cancel a show.
I think it's worse that a show was moved when he had to fight Gus the second time because he popped, or because there was pictograms or whatever. That I think is worse than a cancelled event.
Do you know what the funny thing is about Jones? Like, he's now tried to patch things up with DC. Oh, sorry, DC, that I cost you your pretty much prime over my drug things. Oh, unreal, sorry, DC. The fake nice guy. Bullshit.
To be fair, with Jon Jones and DC, I'm sort of on Jon Jones' side because DC's a pussy, man. I can't be dealing with DC, man.
You hate him that much, Jay?
I can't stand crying in the ring because he got egg kicked. Don't do it. Go away.
My guy,
Go away. Get off commentary as well and take Anik with you. Jesus Christ. This company is going down the toilet.
Oh, yeah.
Really
and, Dana got criticised by Izzy, for cutting out Ngannou. Look at that. Dana White takes full responsibility for scrubbing out Ngannou from the UFC 305 promos. Got caught red-handed. Want to erase history because it doesn't fit his narrative. If Ngannou was still in the UFC, Jon Jones would not be here. Jon Jones would be tweeting.
Yeah.
There'd be Twitter fingers. Because he would never have done it. We would have seen Ngannou versus Tom Aspinall.
That would have been
see. And now, with the fact, because I think Jones is going to retire, like the little, he is the stain of mixed martial arts. He is the stain of everything bad of mixed martial arts is Jon Jones. Because when he retires with the belt, because it's an ego, let's be honest, if they're doing this because they want to discredit Francis's name, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's been the whole
because Francis screwed them over. Let's say Jones retires, right? And Aspinall, gets the undisputed belt, breaks every single heavyweight record. Fans will go, never beat Jon Jones, so did he?
Yeah.
Well, the problem here is that,
and that's the most damning thing.
The problem here is that Ngannou is the lineal champion because he never lost the belt. So Jon Jones, right? Jon Jones keeps going on Twitter, right, about who's Aspinall beat. Yeah, he's beaten, apart from Cyril Gane, where they haven't fought yet. He's beaten every contender, pretty much in the top 10 ranked UFC heavyweight fighters. Right? He has beaten everyone. Jon Jones beat Cyril Gane, but Jon Jones has never beat the champion. He's a fake champion.
He's a guy that doesn't want to fight. He wants to make movies.
He's a fake champion. Yeah, He's a fake champion. He's never beaten the champion. He's not
Yeah.
defended his title yet. We're waiting 2 years and he's still not defending his title. And he's going to defend his title against someone who's blatantly got CTE.
Yeah.
And Dana White's letting that fight happen. That tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, and CJ put, did you see the clip of Dana talking to Torres Finney? Well, I'm going to play the clip now because my God, it was brutal.
Yeah, it was an odd night. Let's put it that way, in my opinion. Finney, now you were here last year, and you know my recommendation to you was to go out and get some experience. You're young. You're obviously talented. You're now 9-0. You got one fight. You went out in 1 year and fought one fight. And, you know, I'm always brutally honest with this stuff. You get absolutely decimated in the UFC with the performance that you put on tonight. Your performance last year was better than this performance. You're 25 years old, kid. You're obviously a talented athlete. Go out and get 3 or 4 fights this year. Then come back and talk to us about the UFC. You gassed out tonight. You had a tough time getting through 3 rounds. You're not ready for the UFC. When I said go out and get some experience, I didn't mean one fight. I meant get some fights. We'll see you soon.
Never go, man. Never go, young man. Never go. He's talking to you like shit. Never go. You're 9-0. How you're not in the UFC? You're 9-0. How you not in the UFC?
And the guy he fought on the Contender Series is like a foot taller than him as well.
Yeah.
He
And
did
undefeated fighters are going off to the PFL. Cedric Doumbé, Paul Hughes, off to the PFL because they get treated better, get paid more, better schedule.
Dana's a cunt. I'm just going to say it now.
The same guy who still has Tony Ferguson on his roster. Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
You know. But anyway, we're going to wrap it up there. For today.
He stayed around long enough to become the villain.
Yeah.
It's
and
such
no
a
one
shame.
gets rid of him unless His Excellency in Saudi wants to buy the UFC and basically tell Dana to do one. That's the only way he leaves the UFC. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that came over from Coppish. There's been 64 people in the chat. I know it's fluctuated up and down, but it has stayed fairly steady at around the 60 to 64. I have to say massive thanks, obviously, from Callum to bring the people over from Coppish. Obviously, massive thanks to Jamie as well, you know, for joining us, for joining me. It's about 1 a.m. on Thursday. I'm up in about 4 hours, which is going to be beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Everyone make sure to hit the like button, share button and subscribe button. The links to Jamie Phillips football chats is in the description. The link to the Sanderson Show in the description. The link to the GoFundMe for the Midnight Walk, raising money for the domestic abuse support. And Jamie's disappeared. Is in the description as well. Trying to get to £500. I think we're about 375. So let's try and hit that before Friday, hopefully. Callum, anything you'd like to plug? I was going to ask that to Jamie.
Coppish, we're on Coppish tomorrow and on Friday. Sanderson Show wise, I'm aiming to get one more shot before the end of the week. So yeah, just keep an eye out, please. And yeah, on the road to 2,000 subs on the Sanderson Show.
I'm on the road to 300 at the moment. I think I'm on like 218 last time I checked, but I'll have a look afterwards. But yeah, everyone that's tuned in, massive appreciation. Whether or not there'll be any more content this week, I don't think there'll be anything tomorrow. Friday, I'm doing the walk. I may do something Saturday. I know I won't be covering the fight night because I'll be getting a very, very early night because I'll be shattered.
Yeah.
It should be some content over the weekend, probably reacting to Tom Aspinall's, clapping back at Dana White and Jon Jones. So, of course, we'll always be there for that.
Yes,
but,
indeed.
Yeah, massive thanks to Callum, massive thanks to Jamie, who's disappeared for the evening. But yeah, and thanks to everyone in the chat, and we'll see you all very soon.
Big up, everyone.